All right, good morning, everybody. We're so happy that you're joining us today. We're sorry that we cannot be there in person, but we really hope that you enjoy this video. And it's pretty long, and we decided just to keep it together as one big video and not make a bunch, so that we wouldn't have just a bunch of links all over the page. But in the video, what I'm going to try to do is put at the bottom little chapters. So if there's a section that you don't preferably enjoy watching, or if you want to skip past something, or you just want to see your teacher's section or segment, there should be a way at the bottom to click around and navigate your way. So we hope you enjoy this. And first up is going to be Mr. Ben and Miss Nora, and they're going to be leading it away with bird watching in nature. So I hope y'all enjoy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, it is Ben. Nature name is Branch, and one thing I'm gonna miss about nature school this week is being out there with you and showing you guys cool things such as the birds that we're gonna talk about today.
And I'm Nora, and my nature name is Juniper Berry, and I just started last week, so some of you might not know me yet, but I am going to be teaching the eagles and the owls, and I'm really looking forward to missing things about nature school.
All right, so for today, our activity for you all is going out on a bird walk. All right, so there are tons of different bird species out and about here in Texas. So we'll start with a quick story. When I want to say in college, when I was like your guys' ages, I didn't really take notice to a lot of birds that are out and about. But when I was in college, I stumbled upon a bird ID guide for my state of Ohio, and kind of going through that, I started like finding and seeing birds that had the most unusual beaks, feathers, colorations, and I was just amazed by like all these different birds. Eventually, we ended up having this really unique bird in our chimney one year, and I was like, "What is this bird?" You could only hear its chirping. It was a very unique type of chirp, and then when you would start the fire in the chimney, the bird would come out. So we're like, I had to find out what this bird was. So what I used was a bird ID guide. I got myself real excited about birding. Then it turned out being a chimney swift. Anyway, so that's what we want to encourage you guys to do this week is go out and do a little bit of birding. See if you can find a bird that maybe you've never seen before. So I'm going to give a more active approach, and Nora, you're going to give a more
Passive approach. Yeah, more chilled, laid back, kind of sit and watch approach. And yeah, we actually saw a really cool bird this morning too. Yeah, so we're here at Roy G. Park, and we were just talking about birds and trying to identify some of the ones that we saw just sitting down on a bench and listening to their calls. And we ended up seeing a merlin, right?
Yeah.
Just tell them about the merlin.
So a merlin is a type of bird of prey. They are not year-round residents here in Texas. They actually winter here. So they'll usually fly more north, but they come down and enjoy the warmer temperatures here and do their hunting. They like to hunt small birds and when it's warm out, they'll do dragonflies. They'll pluck them out of the sky too. But yeah, we saw a merlin. We saw northern mockingbird, and we're gonna the things we're gonna do today is we're going to kind of take you around the park and kind of show you some environments that are ideal for locating birds and kind of giving you some tips, tricks, as well as supplies for what you might need. You're definitely gonna need your journals, folks. All right, since we're like chilling at the park and stuff, why don't we all head down by the river? Don't you think, Nora?
Yeah, definitely.
Lots of cool stuff out here. All right. And
So we are here down by the river, which is a really great place to look for some different waterfowl. Lots of migratory birds are in the area right now because Texas is fairly warm compared to some of the other places that birds like to hang out. So first I just want to talk about a few different things that I really appreciate about bird watching and just the approach that I take, which is a little bit more passive. So I like to just come down to the river or to pick a spot, you know, anywhere in nature really. Birds are everywhere. And I like to just sit and wait and be still and quiet and breathe. And I like to set the intention to draw my awareness to the sounds of the birds first. There's some small chirping in the background right now. There's a few different birds actually that I'm able to hear. One of them has more of like a rolling sound, like a grrr. Yeah. And I really appreciate, oh look at that. Incredible. It looks like a pelican right there. Or maybe an egret. Beautiful. But I find that when I sit and wait and think about the things that I'm grateful for, oftentimes what I'm looking for will just kind of reveal itself to me. And wow, a whole flock of them. So yeah, if you're somebody who maybe likes to be quiet and alone sometimes, then this approach might be good for you, to just kind of sit and wait and allow the wildlife to come to you. Because I think oftentimes it's all around us. The birds are always there, but we are too busy moving and talking and exploring and adventuring to see them sometimes. Or maybe also we're loud and we are disruptive to their natural patterns, so we scare them away on accident. But there's so many things to appreciate in nature. And when you start to really give your full attention to your subject, which here is the birds, then you start to notice things that maybe you didn't notice before. You see a bird that you have never seen before, and that's really cool. Today I noticed the pattern on the mockingbird's wings, how they have the white tip at the end of their wings, and how beautiful it is. And so I would encourage everybody to, you know, get outside and maybe try this technique of just sitting really still and listening. And seeing what you hear and watching, and see if you can't identify a bird that you have maybe never seen before. Maybe you've never thought to identify it. See if you can find a bird book, or maybe just search it on the internet. And I'm just gonna do a quick sit spot basically, and that is really how I like to watch birds. Just sit in the same spot and be open and listen and look and feel. And there's so much there.
Just a bit more right there. It's a snowy egret, everybody. Probably have like 15 different bird species in this photo. Like a little further down I don't know if you could zoom in on there, but
Let me see if I can get it through the...
Oh shoot, here comes a great blue heron. You'll see all those birds. Oh, look at how ingenious, Nora. Look at all those waterfowl over there. You'll see that? There's a snowy egret. There are tons of different waterfowl. Some that I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest. But let's see. There's a blue heron over there flying. Another great place to find birds are edges, such as like edges of trails or big thickets like we got in here. So typically where the trees kind of open up into like an opening or a field, right along the edge in the shrubbery, you'll find lots of prime habitat for birds. All right, so if you got to be sneaky about it. But if you guys are real quiet, you might find birds kind of taking shelter in the thickets. It's a great way to find birds such as sparrows and other things like mockingbirds, jays. They love the edges, all right? Birds also will inhabit different levels of the tree. You'll have some types of species of like warblers that only occupy the top and eat things off the top. You'll have other species of warblers that will maybe be in the middle zone of the tree, and you'll also have like birds that like to inhabit the bottom of the tree as well. And they all are eating different things, and that's why they're so specialized. So another great place to find birds is in the edges of woods or tree lines in the dense brush and shrubbery. Great place to find birds.
Cool, y'all.
So everyone, that kind of concludes our bird walk. Now we just want you guys to get out there and do some birding on your own, whether it be water source, an edge, maybe finding a sit spot and just being present in the moment. We want to encourage you all to find 3 different types of birds while you're out there. Kind of sketch them in your journal, try and write what you see, and then see if you then can identify those birds by doing some of your own research as well. So I'm Ben.
And I'm Nora.
And we will see you all very soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right, next up is Miss Amanda, and she has a wonderful story for us.
Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Amanda here, better known as Nature Name Salamanda. We're here at Roy G. Guerrero Park, and it is a little bit chilly out here, but it has just been a very wonderful morning. I'm here with Mr. Ben and Miss Nora, and we have just been exploring the area and really taken in all the nature, especially the birds here. We have seen some mockingbirds, which just so happens to be the Texas state bird, and we did see, I believe was a falcon. Don't quote me on that, but we did see about 3 mockingbirds earlier, so that was really wonderful, which really got us inspired to just come out here in nature and just explore the area. And this morning I am, for the question on something I'm going to miss this week about nature school, I think just being out here at Roy G is really going to make me miss being at Marymore and listening to the birds, because I've really grown in appreciation within the last half hour just walking around this area. I'm really going to miss listening to the birds singing back and forth to each other. I really like the moments when we're sitting in the falcon nest and it's kind of the moments of quietness, and we can hear the birds singing back and forth. So lots of bird inspiration this morning, which inspired us to start this morning off with also a story called Baby Bird's First Nest by Frank Ash. One night, Baby Bird rolled over in her sleep, tumbled out of her nest, and woke up with a thump. Baby Bird wasn't hurt, but she was very frightened. Darkness loomed all around her. Even the moon looked cold and scary. "Mama, help me!" she cried, but Mama Bird was fast asleep. Beneath Baby Bird's tree lived Little Frog.
What are you croaking about?
He asked. I fell out of my nest, Baby Bird said, flapping her tiny wings, and I can't get back. Little Frog climbed out of his pond.
I was going for a moonlight swim. Do you want to come along?
I just want to go back to my mama and my nest, sniffled Baby Bird.
Don't worry, your mama will find you in the morning,
said Little Frog. The morning's a long way off, replied Baby Bird. What shall I do till then?
Why not build your own nest?
asked Little Frog. I've never built a nest before, sighed Baby Bird.
Neither have I,
said Little Frog.
But I'd be glad to help you.
So sweet of Little. So Baby Bird and Little Frog set to work building a nest. They gathered twigs and pine needles to make the outside. Then they lined the inside with birch bark and deer grass. Sounds like a great tender bundle to me. When the nest was finished, Baby Bird hopped inside and chirped, It's beautiful and cozy too! With a skip and a jump, Little Frog flipped himself into the nest.
Kind of scratchy for my taste,
he croaked. Of course you'd think that. You're a frog, said Baby Bird, but it's perfect for me. Then she sighed with relief. My very first nest. Baby Bird snuggled down and soon began to feel sleepy, but Little Frog sat up straight.
I hear paws,
he croaked.
Quick, follow me.
Little Frog leaped out of the nest and into the pond. Kerplunk. Baby Bird looked up and saw a hungry raccoon. If I jump in the pond, I'll drown, she thought. So she scrambled out of her nest and fled to the opposite direction. Baby Bird spied a low branch above her head. She crouched down, flapped her tiny wings, and hopped up onto the next branch. Raccoon stood on his hind legs. Baby Bird closed her eyes, trembling with fear, but Raccoon couldn't reach her. Raccoon hunted in the water until he found a fish to eat. When he was gone, Little Frog swam ashore and went looking for Baby Bird. He looked in the nest. It was empty. He looked behind the nest and even under the nest.
Oh my!
He croaked.
Raccoon got Baby Bird! No, he didn't.
Oh. No, he didn't. I'm up here.
How did you get up there?
Asked Little Frog. I hopped up, replied Baby Bird.
If you can hop up there, you can hop back to your nest,
said Little Frog. I can't hop that far, gasped Baby Bird.
Sure you can, if you take it one hop at a time. Here, I'll show you.
And he hopped to Baby Bird's perch.
Now follow me,
he said, and hopped to a branch above her head.
Can you do that?
Sure, chirped Baby Bird.
Good,
said Little Frog, and he hopped to the next higher branch. Little Frog hopped, and Baby Bird followed her higher and higher, all the way back to her nest. Mama, I'm home, she cried. Slowly, Mama Bird opened her eyes. Of course you are, my darling, she said with a yawn. But what are you doing out there? Mama Bird lifted Baby Bird into the nest. Mama, cried Baby Bird, I've had the most wonderful adventure. Yes, yes, Mama Bird yawned again. You can tell me all about it in the morning. Soon Mama Bird was fast asleep.
Your mama's nice,
said Little Frog. Do you want to sleep in our nest tonight? Asked Baby Bird. Little Frog thought for a moment.
Too scratchy,
he replied. So what are you going to do now? Said Baby Bird.
I guess I'll finish that moonlight swim,
said Little Frog.
Get ready for the highest dive you've ever saw.
Thanks, I had fun, said Baby Bird.
Me too,
said Little Frog. Will I ever see you again? Asked Baby Bird.
I certainly hope so,
croaked Little Frog, and he dove into the night. So this afternoon I would like to check out with some gratitude for all the birds and just taking those moments to really stop and hear them and taking a moment to also see them through the binoculars that Mr. Ben brought. I'm really grateful that he brought those. They are very high quality, and we've seen some really good stuff out here and just had some quiet moments of just listening to the birds. So I'm checking in with gratitude when it comes to the birds. Other than that, y'all have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. We will miss you, and can't wait to see you soon. Bye.
All right, so now we are going to go to Will for a plant walk.
Hey guys, Will here, Bearby, and I am going to take y'all on a plant walk today and just show you some of my favorite plants that I've seen out in the area. That's been a big thing about Natureversity that I've missed, is walking around and identifying different plants and trying different plants. It's been nice to go and see other places rather than the same ones, but Marymore and the property have some great plants that we get to look at. So yeah, let's hop into it. The genus and species of hackberry is Celtis occidentalis. So this is hackberry. We got the last few here, and yeah, they're falling off. So hackberry is noticeable for its galls. Galls are pretty much just mutations on the tree and leaf parts. So this gall grew right at the stem where the leaf was coming out, and that's a pretty common place for them. And they also have them, if you can see on the leaves right here, they come off and sometimes grow off of the side of the leaves. It's also noticeable for its bark. Its bark has very interesting cavernous features, and they grow kind of as it looks almost like a bush. So hackberry grows, as you can see, this one is on the ground. It fell over. But that's perfect for wildlife to come and get these low-hanging fruits and just get an easier snack than having to climb all the way up a tree. So if you're out walking in nature, you might smell a garlic onion kind of scent coming from the ground, it seems. And that's because if you look around, you might see some wild onion. The kids call them wild onion, but it's also called wild garlic. And the genus for wild garlic is Allium canadense. And I found the best way to harvest the wild garlic is to get a stick and find where the root goes into the ground and come out about an inch and press down, and then you can pop it up out of the ground. Sometimes the stick breaks, that's okay. Just get another stick. Hopefully it's loose enough to where you can just grab it. Sometimes they're deeper than you think, but this one came out just like that. Sometimes they're gonna have a little husk. You can just pull that off, and then boom, got yourself some garlic. And this is great in salads or breakfast tacos or whatever you want to make. They're pretty good fried up, but you can just pretty much eat them raw, just like that. The best tasting part is that bulb, but you can eat the whole thing. It just gets to get a little bit grainy up here. And you'll notice that the bulbs taste different in different areas. And there are some that kind of look like this, but you just have to make sure that it smells like garlic, or else it's probably not garlic. So that right there is a dandelion, and so that is a dandelion, or the genus Latuca. And there's another one right over here, and it is huge. The leaves are up to my wrist right there. These are ginormous leaves. And those ones are also edible. Most of the plants that you see that have this lobed, alternating lobe, not really consecutive, it's going to be edible, and they're really, really good for you. People make coffees and teas out of them, and I like snacking on them whenever I'm out. So this is wood sorrel with the genus Oxalis, and it's super tart, but it's sweet. It's great for putting on fruit or mixing with other wild herbs to give it a different flavor. It's like a candy, really tart candy. So if you're out and you see the 3-lobed heart-shaped clover leaf, that's how you know it's wood sorrel. So behind me is bamboo, or Bambusa vulgaris, and the stalks, when they're dried, can be used for tons of different crafts. This is a big part of some cultures, and we use them for arrows or tools. So this is Capsicum annuum, or chili tapine, or chili piquin. It looks like a little tomato, and sometimes they're super spicy, sometimes they're not. But they do have a citrus in winter, and they're overall just a good edible plant to know and forage for. The leaves kind of have a pointed shape right there, and they're pretty symmetrical too when they grow. It's really a beautiful plant. So this plant right here is called shepherd's purse. And shepherd's purse have those little triangle-like leaves on the outside. And they have like kind of a spicy almost taste. It's definitely very peppery. So shepherd's purse, or the Latin name Capsella bursa pastoris. So this is So this is shepherd's purse, or Capsella bursa pastoris, and all of it is edible, and the leaves have a pretty cool spice, a little bit peppery, but I like it a lot. Here is a Yopon holly. It has thin plastic leaves that snap whenever you try to bend it in half. The Latin name for this tree is Ilex vomitora, and it has little berries that birds eat, but are not edible by humans.
All right, everybody, we now are going to go over to Mr. Cam, and we are going to hear about his new primitive weapon and tool.
Well, good day to all of our Natureversity families. Hope you are all doing well. This is Mr. Cam, and today I'm checking in with gratitude for the ability to relax, because I have not been feeling super well, a little under the weather, and excuse me, the ability to be able to rest and relax while still being able to kind of get stuff out to you guys is nice. The thing that I currently miss, honestly, just most about nature school is being able to be out here. That's why I actually wanted to make sure I got out here today and be outside and outdoors, is because it's such a huge part of what I do. And the not being able to be out here because I haven't been feeling well is awful. So today I am going to be bringing to show you guys a primitive tool. And this right here is what's referred to as a fustibalis. And some of you probably recognize that this right here is a sling. And that is exactly what a fustibalis is. It is a sling that is attached to a very long stick. And so this idea, or this particular item, it comes from the trebuchet idea, which was used in a lot of ancient armies. And actually in Roman armies, this particular tool was used by all soldiers. They were all trained in this. And it's an excellent hunting tool if you get really good at it. Now, this is my first, I've used it a couple times. I am by no means a master at it, but I did want to show you guys kind of how it works. So we're gonna first off test out distance twice, one with this tennis ball and one with a stone I've got back there. So this right here is leather. You can make this with some old cloth as well. This piece right here, you basically punch holes in it and you string an even number of holes with, this is cordage, through it. To show you how this kind of hooks in, I've got a bead on this string and it just catches on this little hook that I've made here. And we've got, this is a noose knot right here holding this in place. And so you basically hold it over your shoulder and keep it as parallel to the ground as possible. And it's one motion. And as you can see, that tennis ball can go really far. And I'm going to show you guys now a rock. And then we're going to try and land some of these bandana balls into the bucket. And we'll see how that goes. All right. So this is with a rock. Yeah. If you get really deadly with that, that could definitely take out a small animal or a target as a hunting tool, 100%. So basically I've got a bag of bandana balls. We're just going to try and sink them into this particular bucket, because bandana balls don't fly nearly as well. Let's see if a larger one helps. Honestly, yeah, we might.
Ooh, that was close.
Better. Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right, we hit the bucket. All right. Well, we did end up hitting the bucket. And you guys got to see what you can do with these if you throw with like a rock or a much heavier target. These have an incredible amount of power, and with lots of practice, you can definitely hunt or do anything along those lines. With this tool, it's definitely a great primitive weapon or tool to have. And that's my challenge for you guys this week. Take a look online at primitive weapon designs or tool designs and kind of think up something that you would want to be able to make here at Natureversity, whether that be something like a boomerang or something along the lines of a fustibalis. Whatever it is that interests you, you let us know. We can definitely try and put that all together for you guys. That's all for me. I'm Mr. Cam, and I will see you guys next week.
All right, nature nerds, it is now time to bounce over to Mrs. Kamryn, and she is going to lead us through some forest bathing and breathing and kind of earth centering exercises. So I hope you all enjoy.
Hello,
this is still Pecan here. I'm so happy to be here with you all and be able to share a little something special. Today I am feeling extremely grateful for creativity and all the creativity within the Natureversity team so that we can figure out a way that we can still share a bit of nature magic with you while you're at home. So today I'm going to be working with you through something a bit inspired by forest bathing, which is a practice where you go out into the forest or the woods or a open meadow with no intention. So going out and just aimlessly exploring using all your senses and truly making the intention of connecting to the earth. So I will lead you through a little bit of that and give you a bit of practice you can do at home, either with a friend, your parent, or your sibling. You will need someone to work with in this, and for the practice you will need a blindfold or something you can put over your eyes. Let's get to it. Here are a few things that I love to do when I am wandering through the forest, which is dancing, hugging trees, and just laying down and uptaking from sounds and the feeling of the earth. Park right near my home. And I love it because it actually used to be, like most of our parks, Native American land. So when I wander aimlessly through this park, sometimes I can find things that look like they might have been tools. So sometimes these stones, maybe not this one, but some of them look as though they could have been a carving tool. So this is a wonderful park to explore around in. And all the juniper trees. Last little bit, I'm going to guide you to connect to all 5 of your senses. So sit outside or out on your porch. If you have a forest or park nearby, that's awesome. And then make sure you're comfortable. You can close your eyes. I'm going to, but you don't have to. And take a few deep breaths, just noticing how fresh, maybe cool the air is. And connect to any sounds around you. Maybe you can hear, like I hear a dog barking. You can hear cars really far away. And my hands are actually on this tree. So feeling wherever your hands or your feet are. And then just connect to the ground beneath you. Notice the quietness of being outside. See what you can smell, maybe freshness, maybe there's some sort of plant nearby. And then do open your eyes if they were closed and look around you. And something that's fun to play with is looking around like you have never seen wherever you are. So maybe noticing different colors, the different textures of the trees, and being open in a curiosity kind of way. So you probably know a few of the trees that are around you, but maybe looking at them like you don't know their name and you've never seen them before. Seeing the different shapes. And that's a brief little practice. I hope you feel a bit more connected to the earth around you. The final practice I want to gift to you that you can do this week at home at some point, it's kind of like your homework, is to ask a friend, a sibling, or your parent to grab like 3 or 4 items from nature. So maybe a tree, a rock, maybe not a tree, a piece of a tree, a rock, a plant, and then you put on a blindfold. So you blindfold yourself and your friend or whoever you're working with puts the things in your hands, and without seeing, you feel and guess what you're holding. So maybe like, oh, I'm feeling a stick, or maybe you can even name what kind of tree branch that they hand you. So that's something to play with. I hope you have a wonderful week at home and still get a little bit of taste of Natureversity. My name is still Pecan, and I'm really glad to have been able to have the opportunity to share with you today. And with that, I'm signing off.
All right, so up next is Mr. Chris, and Mr. Chris, myself, I'm going to be talking about knots. Hope you enjoy it. All right, welcome Natureversity families. My name is Mr. Chris, and today I am checking in with a lot of gratitude and hopefulness and a lot of excitement for the weeks to come of our nature school. And today, right now, I am missing a lot of laughter at nature school. I'm missing a lot of smiling faces. I'm missing a lot of connecting with parents. I'm missing a lot of hearing, what are we gonna do today? And Mr. Chris, tell us a story, and all of those good things. So I'm missing all of that, and I'm missing all of you, and I hope y'all are all doing well at home. And yeah, so today I am going to be talking about knots with you all. And it was really funny because Miss Amanda one time at meeting just a couple weeks ago was actually like, hey, Mr. Chris, where's that knot board that you have? And I was like, I don't actually have a knot board. I have a board that has a bunch of types of rope that I've made from nature on it. And she was like, oh, really? She's like, I thought we had a board that was like filled with knots. And I was like, no, we don't. And it was so funny because when she was saying that in my head, I was thinking to myself like, wait, we should have a knot board. We should make a knot board. So, of course, Mr. Chris made a knot board. And this is my giant knot board. And I hope you all like it. But it's got a bunch of knots on here that I built in order to demonstrate how, effective knots are, but also basically just give examples of what you're trying to look for. So over here we have a bowline knot, we have the handcuff knot, we have a figure 8 knot down here, we have a noose, we have a figure 8, we have a overhand knot on a bite, we have an overhand knot here, we have a square knot here, we have a sheep bend here, a lap knot here, fisherman knot, clove hitch, spear knot, timber hitch, cowhead knot, prusik knot, and a what is called, oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank on the name of this one. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But this is my knot board, and I challenge you all to make yourself a knot board this week while you're away. And if you do, it will definitely be used to inspire all the rest of the kiddos and the folks. I would love for you to bring it to class and show everybody what you made. But all it took for me to make this was a big chunk of wood and a bunch of pieces of rope that you can see that I've got here. And that was it. And and a hot glue gun. That's right. And so what I did was I tied all the knots, and then I hot glued them to the pieces of wood. And forgive me, my neighbors are banging away building stuff next to me. So sorry about the noise. So I am going to talk about knots, and we're going to do a few of these knots from the board today. And in order for me to get started doing that with you, I need you all to have 2 pieces of rope. Now, when I say rope, I don't mean string. String is different than rope. Rope is normally round. If you can see, like this is round. String is normally flat or very thin and not that strong. But you would need 2 pieces of rope ideally, or you could use 2 pieces of string. But when you're tying your knots, don't like really pull on them hard or anything like that, because if you do, what's going to end up happening is they're going to get so tight that you won't be able to get them undone. So they should be pretty long. These are about, 18 inches or 20 inches or so. That's how long my strings are. And they're different colors because it's going to help you understand how to do certain things and how, blue into yellow or yellow around blue and things like that, all that anyway. So once you have all your strings, we can get started with the next process. All right. So it would require me to teach you a couple of things about rope and what is called the vernacular, or the terms of rope and knot tying. So the first one is what is called the working and standing end of a rope. So a working end of the rope oftentimes is the part that's like doing things, going around, making bends, making bites, making loops, etc., etc. And the standing end is the part that's just staying still. Normally, the working end is going around the standing end and working. But every now and again, the standing end can later on become a part of the working end too. So I just want you to understand there's a working end and a standing end. The other things to remember are two terms. One is called a bite. A bite is when a rope is side by side like this. It looks like a loop down here at the end, but really the rope is just kind of folded back upon itself. So that's what's called a bite. Now, a loop looks kind of like a bite, but it actually crosses over. So you see the difference there? That's a loop. This is a bite. So they're not crossing. They're just next to each other. So parallel, perpendicular, if you understand that. Parallel is like this, perpendicular is like this. So here we have parallel, here we have perpendicular. So it's really important to know those terms: the standing end, the working end, the bite, and the loop. Now, we are going to do some basic knots together. Hope you're ready. And I'm going to turn the camera in a way so that it faces my hands. When you see my hands, it'll be just like looking at your hands while you tie your knots. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's begin to learn some knots together, shall we? So in my hand, I have one rope, and the very first knot that we are going to tie on the knot board is called the overhand knot, and it's a really, really simple one. So if you're looking at your hands, like in the video, then you should be here. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna make a loop. Remember we talked about making a loop? And we're gonna take the right end of the right working end, and we're going to put it into the loop and then pull that, and this is what is called dressing down the knot. There you go. And that is an overhand knot. Let's do it one more time. We have our rope, we cross over and we make a loop, we take our right end and we put it through, and then we dress down. And that is an overhand knot. All right, let's do the second one now. The second one is called an overhand knot on a bite. So this is kind of tricky, but I know you all can do it. So you're going to take and make a bite. This is a long bite. And now with our bite, we're going to make a loop. So there's our loop. Now we're going to take our bite end and go into the loop. And then dress down. And that is called a thumb knot, or an overhand on a bite. Okay? Let's do it again. We have our rope. We make a bite. We make a loop. We take our bite and we go in to our loop. Just like that. I'm gonna do it one more time, real slow. Here's our rope. Make a long bite. Cross over. Here's our bite and here's our loop. We're going to go with our bite into our loop. And then hold your standing end and pull your working end. And that is called a thumb knot, or an overhand knot on a bite. There we go. So now we're going to do another one. This one's called the figure 8 knot. In order to do a figure 8 knot, we're going to have a bottom working section and a top standing section. What we're going to do is we're going to go up and behind our working end. We're then going to go over the working end, and then we're going to come back behind and through. Just like that. So notice it looks like a little 8, almost like an 8 around a snake, or a snake around a pole. So let's try it again. We have a working end down here. We have a standing end up here. We go backwards. We make a loop that goes behind. Then we take our working end and we go in front of our standing end this time. And now we go back down into that original loop that we made. And then we pull tight. And this is called the figure 8 knot. And I really like this figure 8 knot because a lot of times people will put the overhand knot in something like this. They'll put a little overhand knot in here. And then they'll use this overhand knot to pull against something else. So when the rope gets there, it stops. But the problem with that is that this knot is really hard to then get undone, right? When it's been so much pressure or so much pounds or pull or force or torque has been placed on the end of that knot. But if you put in a figure 8 knot and then do it, this knot can actually come undone a lot easier. And what you do is you just kind of pull this out of that little section right there, and then it just loosens right up and it comes undone. So a figure 8 knot is a little bit better than an overhand knot if you're trying to use it as what is called a stopper knot. All right, let's talk about joining 2 ropes together. Now there's a couple of ways that you can join 2 pieces of rope together if you don't have the means to do so. But I'm going to teach you a really simple one, and this one is actually my favorite. So if you've got your 2 pieces of rope here, you're going to take the one in your left hand and you're going to make a bite. The one then in your right hand, you're going to cross over the bite, and you're going to want to tuck that one you crossed over behind. And now you're going to go across once more and into the blue bite. Just like that. So let me show you once more. So make a bite, cross over your bite, go behind your bite, and then into the bite. Okay, just like that. And this is what is called, oh, I'm drawing a blank now. I'm so sorry. This knot is called a, it's right here in front of me. It's not called a spear knot. I can't think of what kind of knot this is called right now. I'm so sorry. I told you it's my favorite knot, and I don't even know what it's called. What's wrong with me? But here, I'm going to do it again. Okay. A lap knot. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's called a lap knot. It's called a lap knot. It's a lap knot. And that's it right there. There we go. So joining 2 pieces of rope together obviously have a lot of benefits in the world of wilderness skills. If you need to make something longer, if you need to carry more, if you need to climb out of something or climb up something or store something in a tree in bear country or raccoon country, always knowing how to join 2 ropes together is so important. So let's do the lap knot one more time. We're going to make a bite. We're going to cross over the bite, go behind the bite, and then right here, this part right here, we're going to go through that
just like that. Okay, and now when we pull our two standing ends, everything should tighten up and it should be stuck together just like that. And that is called the lap knot. Okay. The next one I'm going to teach you to tie is called the sheet bend knot. All right. So once again, we're going to make a bite on our left side. This time, instead of laying over, we're going to go into the bite and then behind the bite again. And then I want you to lift up. Get a pretty good little section here. I want you to lift up right here. And then we're going to take our working end and go right inside there. And then pull both tight. And that's called a sheet bend. The reason I like the sheet bend, and I'm teaching you the sheet bend, is the sheet bend's actually great when you have a really big, thick piece of rope and a really tiny piece of rope. So if this rope was humongously big, like, you know, let's say, I don't know, really, really big, you could still tie these two pieces of rope together by using the sheet bend. But the lap knot might not necessarily work the same. It might slip out. So the sheet bend's really effective when you're joining a large piece of rope and a small piece of rope. So let's do it one more time. In our left hand, we make a bite. And in our right hand, we go in from behind, right? So we go in. And then we go behind. And then this little part right here, we tuck in. And then pull that tight. And that is a sheet bend. Sheet bends are very, very useful. Very useful. Okay. All right. So those are just a few knots to get you all started. Practice those. Once you have, we will continue learning more at Nature School. Hope y'all enjoy.
All right, everyone. So now we're going to bounce over to Mr. Carter, and we're going to hear a little bit more about bow drill. If you're wondering why all the bow drill lately, it's just because we really want everybody to get super good at bow drill. Like, I feel it's one of the hallmarks of first of all, fire is one of the hallmarks and the cornerstones of all communities. It was the hearth, it was the center of a village. Remember, stories and rituals and ceremonies and celebrations and all of the things took place around that central village fire. And for each one of us to be able to, use two sticks to rub together means that we don't ever have to worry about matches. We don't ever have to worry about lighters. And I love alleviating our concerns. Alleviation means, like, I don't have to worry about, I don't want us to have to worry about matches and lighters. I want us to focus on bow drill. So here's Carter with bow drill practice again.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Carter Liston, aka Red-Tailed Heron here. I am grateful for healing. I'm feeling a lot better than I did originally, and I'm grateful that I had at least some time to just kind of like take a break from life and get to interact with my girlfriend more at home. Since we're both busy with our work schedules, it was nice to have this time to like interact more, and I'm missing all of your faces and nature in general. I'm out here with Mr. Cam right now, which is awesome, but it feels a little empty out here. It'll be nice whenever we see everybody's face here in person. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do bow drill today. All right. you can see, we got a coal here. During this process, you do not have to rush because it will burn standing alone for at least a couple minutes. And at that point, you would want a complete tinder bundle ready to drop that coal onto to start the fire. All right, so now time to break down what exactly just happened there. So in bow drill, you basically need 4 main components. You need your bow, and this is ash juniper branch, and it's nice because it's a little bit curved and it has some flex. And obviously you need to tie your string. This one, there's a split down the middle, and we just tied this off so that the split doesn't continue working down the branch, and then you can lock it in place through the top as such. And on this end, we created a knot, and there's a little branch right here to help catch that. There's multiple ways you can tie these. You can also drill a hole through the branch and tie that off as well. But apart from your bow, you need your baseboard, spindle, and handhold. You could also make handholds from bones or stones if you find a stone with a particularly good hole. Sometimes that's really nice too. But so making your notches is one of the trickiest parts of bow drill. That's something that I'm still trying to perfect. But basically you would start with giving this enough space from this notch over here. You want to start 1/4 of an inch out from the edge, and you would take your knife and carve a little indentation. Here, I can show you on this board since it is already done. We have an example board here of many things not to do, but I'm gonna quickly go over here to show you what you should be doing. So you start with that little indentation, and you take your knife tip and you put it in the center and you wiggle it around just to create that indent. And then you would put your spindle in there and you would bow drill it down until it reaches the circumference of the spindle, just so that the tip is all the way in place. And once you get down to that depth, you want to work on your wedge, and this wedge is supposed to be 45 degrees. And one simple trick you can use to mark the width of your wedge for the pie right there is you could take a dollar bill or anything square like a piece of paper, because this right here, this corner is a 90-degree angle, but if you cut 90 degrees in half by folding that there, you create a 45-degree angle. And you could, at this point, put it in just a little bit before the center of the circle there, and then you would trace the edges to create your 45-degree angle. And Cam was just telling me one method that he likes to do is saw a straight line first, like using a pocket saw, and then you would take your knife and carve along the lines that you had traced to give it that nice 45-degree angle. And that takes some practice and just being very careful not to cut yourself, because if it's too jagged, it'll catch all of your the black powder that you're creating, and all that heat will start cooling down if it's too rigid. So you want it to be very smooth. You also don't want it to be too narrow like this hole is showing. You don't want, let's see what else is something not to do. You don't want your notch too deep. You don't want it abnormally shaped. You don't want your notches too close together. Let's see, this one's showing that the notch is too shallow. This notch is too wide at the front and the back. And this one is too close to the edge. That's another big mistake. So there's very specific way to do it. There's lots of ways to mess it up. That's why I am still trying to hone in and get this notch making portion down. But once you get it done right and all of your components are working efficiently, one of my biggest tips for bow drill is making sure you have your form down.